Great, thank you. And hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Talk number 31. My name is Colson, and I'm your host for today's Community Talk. We have an exciting agenda today filled with some amazing community updates and a lot of wonderful segments. We have a lot of them today, including the latest on Geo, Subgraph radio updates from GraphOps, the Graph Advocates Mentorship Initiative, and the launch of Tenderize V2. But before we get into these segments, let me share some community updates with you. The Graph Advocates DAO has launched a meme competition to celebrate the new era of the graph. You can showcase your creativity and join the competition. Five winners will receive some exclusive graph swag and stickers. Well, it's very easy to participate. We will share a link with you in the chat room right now. You create a meme about the graph's new era, you post it and tag Graph Protocol and use the hashtag Graph New Era, and then you can win. Another thing is that there has been a discussion going on about the future of curation on the Graph forum, started by Graph advocate Atruas, and we will also post a link to that in the chat room so you can join that discussion or read up on it later on. The Graph Advocates DAO will sponsor the Eat Cinco de Mayo hackathon in Puebla, Mexico on February 2nd to 4th. Members of the Graph ecosystem will represent the Graph and judge the hackathon submissions, so please let us know if you will be participating so we can do some fun stuff while we're there. The core developers have released their monthly updates on the forum, and we will be sharing a link with you in the chat room or in the description of the recording so you could read up on those later on as well. The Graph advocates have been doing a lot of contributions, and we have seen a lot of contributions, especially from the LATAM region. And I would like to invite Emmy to share what she's been working on. Afterwards, I would like to give the microphone to Lorena to share more about the contributions from LATAM and inform you about today's POAP. So I would like to check once again if Emmy, her microphone is working, and if it is, we would like to know what you've been working on.
Hello, could you hear me?
Hey, Lorena. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I have a problem with the mic. Okay, thank you. Well, related with contribution, we already have very interesting profile in the Spanish community. One, we have three advocates that I would like to talk about. One of them is Emmy. She is here, so she can talk by herself. What are they doing for the community as an advocate? And I would like to share with you that Suni is part of the community, the global community. I suppose most of you know her because she is very active in Telegram. So she has had a new initiative to have presentation for many indexers and an interview with many indexers and a report of what the community are doing, but very focused on to explain all the community is doing for Spanish community. So it's very interesting. I will share with you all the work that she's done. So you can check the incredible work that she's doing. Related with Ghost Team, Ghost Team, you know him because very active in Telegram group too. He's from Venezuela and he's working very hard to increase the community there. And in addition of that, he's focused on try to reply and translate all the presentation that are in English to Spanish. So he's very hard. He's doing a very hard work to try to have the Spanish community more involved into the ecosystem. Try to be not only involved but try to focus on all the updates for the ecosystem are at the Spanish community at the same day. So it's great to see this kind of work. And Amy, if you want to, I would like to hear you. What are you doing for the community?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. So, hi everyone. I'm Emmy. I'm an advocate for the graph, and I've been trying to set up an Instagram account to teach fundamentals of blockchain in Spanish. I target that this was an issue within my community. I am from Bolivia, the heart of South America. So I spotted this problem that many of the community, Spanish community here, is not that aware of what blockchain is. And of course, I want to talk to them about the graph and indexing and all of those things. But first, I have to educate them in what is blockchain. So that's my effort that has been for these, I don't know, like 3 months, like that I was doing. So I think I am getting to the point where many uh, Spanish or LATAM communities are getting interested in what is blockchain. So I think that that is a great hook for them, then telling them what is the graph about and what are the opportunities within the blockchain ecosystem that I think that they are amazing and there are a lot. So that's what I've been up to till these days. And of course, if you want to follow me, please do. It's in Spanish, but I promise that the content is very accurate and it's very user friendly. So I try to use a UX type of rules for not, I don't know, like give them a lot of information and giving them more confused thoughts than they were. So I think I am trying to give them as much as I can from my background and my perspective.
Amazing. I mean, there was a question for you in the chat room. If you could perhaps share the link with everyone, because I don't think it was in the link or the list of links that Lorena just shared. So that would be amazing, so people can check it out.
Yes, perfect.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you so much for that update. I will do one more community update before we get into the first segment. And as always, it's about the GRTIQ podcast. There have been multiple new episodes, including 148 with Zach Burns, Principal System Architect at EdgeNode. Then we had 149 and 150, the best of 2023, and 151 with Martin Haskins, head at the Astar Foundation, which is Japan's leading blockchain. Make sure you check out those episodes. They are really wonderful and they were a great listen. So, yeah, make sure you listen to them. And let's get started with our first segment, which is about Geo. Anybody that has paid attention to their Twitter has seen that big news is coming. And today we have Arturos with us, who I'm very happy to have back on Community Talk. Arturos, what could you tell us about this news?
Hey, so let me share my screen for a bit. You
Great,
are
it's
able
working.
to see the screen. Okay. So I will give a short update on where we at, what's happening with Geo, what we're working on here. So first of all, the first time I have given the update and introduction to Geo in this call, actually, it was 2022, November 15th. It was the 17th community talk. And I gave back then a first introduction to Geo. Back then it was very conceptual because we didn't still have a lot of actual product and progress on the engineering back then. After that time in 2023, June 20th, on the 24th community talk, Andrea gave an update as a Geo explorer on the Explorers program. She gave an update of her experience in working with Geo. And we find ourselves now, I'm giving, so basically it's the third update on Geo on this talk. And there was a lot of progress made. And so a few things to mention here. So number one, we, during the break, just at the end of the year, we have launched a new website, which we believe right now is the best of what we tried to do with the website, which is to convey the message and the vision of what Geo is. So here we go. We can take a quick look. How does this look? So what information can we trust?
She did.
Excuse me?
Wow.
I think Spali has his mic unmuted on accident.
Okay. So what information can we trust? Can we trust the process, the governments, big tech, universities? Everyone has an opinion. No one knows how to trust, who to trust. And so there must be a way to organize information in a decentralized way where experts have more power, but everyone has a voice. And so we're introducing GeoGenesis, the first step towards building global decentralized knowledge graph, organized by independent communities called spaces. And here we can see there's a bunch of different spaces, from philosophy to artificial intelligence to history to crypto to politics and health and many different things. Each of these communities is a community of people that do two things. First, they agree on what is true. So we have so basically each community member, they can add data that they believe is true. They can add claims or add certain arguments. They can add lists of things, of types, anything that's useful to the community to progress and to understand what's true and to call to action. And after that, once we go through that process, then it's about ranking. So basically each community, so some of the features that I'm explaining here, some of them we already have, others are coming soon. In general, the launch, we still don't have a hard date. However, we already informed on Twitter that the launch is coming soon. And so keep an eye out for that. And the launch is going to happen as soon as we have the features ready and polished, because we want to make it right once we go public and permissionless. So the data is interconnected and verifiable. So that's the part of the semantic part. So even in the 2022 community talk, I gave a short intro then of the semantic data, which means that everything internet is interconnected, as opposed to just being static or just being engaging as a Web 2. So that's another approach to the understanding of what internet is. And ranking system, so that's where communities can rank. What do they think is the most pressing problems? What do they think is the most valuable information? What do they think is the most important next action to take? That's the website. Here you can sign up if you still haven't, to get updates on once the launch is coming. So for now, the best that so once the launch is there, we will be happy to invite the graph advocates to join in, participate, create spaces. And there's a lot of things that we can do on Geo that already is happening on the graph advocates. So Geo will simply be able to sort of aid the community by providing this thing. Essentially, it's like very easy to set up any DAO and organize it, everything semantically and in a decentralized way. So a few examples of what we have here. So for example, on Geo, we're holding for quite a while, we're currently on pause with this, a philosophy meetups, where we are having conversation exactly how the Web3 should function, what are the expectations from society about the Web3. And so we're taking this with high responsibility, right? So the thing is, Web3 is coming. We had a few bear and bull markets, but it seems that the next one is the big one, where the world is going to really understand what the Web3 is. And it's no longer going to be just a products within the ecosystem of crypto. It's going to be a products that are needed for everyone. Basically, right now we can browse Geo technically without, besides the fact that you just have to have the wallet. Besides that, you don't even have to know that everything is on blockchain. This is just a high quality way to organize data. Some examples, so in defense space, so for example, we're curating information about global conflicts. And this is a really easy way to get informed about what's going on. So for example, right now, Israel and Hamas war is really a hot topic. Everyone's trying to understand what's going on. Here's an example. Israel's outcomes in 2023, Israel-Hamas war. We can see, to understand the outcomes, we need to understand the objectives. Here are the objectives that Israel has stated. How do we know that that's true? Because we have supporting quotes from specific articles that actually show that that's the case. So we have a quote that says that this is indeed a true statement, and we can see always the first source. And we can go and see, after knowing the objectives, we can see how well they met them. Assessments of strategic gains, assessments of losses. Everything is a claim, which means that each claim can be looked at individually. We can add supporting arguments, quotes that support it from articles. We can have opposing arguments. We can have a debate about specific issue, as opposed to just writing in the comment section that I disagree with. That's a big difference between Web 2 and Web 3, which is the detail that we're able to participate in conversations with. So this is how it looks. Another thing is politics. That's another example. So Joe Biden, so Joe Biden as a politician, and for example, have his voting positions, and we see his voting positions on defense and national security, his voting positions about interventions and conflicts, about economy, inflation, education, climate change, and all of these different things. This right now doesn't exist anywhere in Web 2. This already exists in Web 3. And the power of this is that community can take any specific claim about any random voting position that maybe someone is passionate about, click on that entity and start engaging in that entity specifically. Do we really know that he has this position? What are the best counter arguments and supporting arguments to have that position? To which categories does that position is involved? So this is the future. This is how it looks. For now, what we can, so as soon as we launch, we will be happy to invite the graph advocates to join in. Until that time, we just invite just to look at the website, engage in social media. Any support there is appreciated. And I'll be dropping a link in under our community talk here to the conversation on the forum about the vision of curating. And the way that curating works, maybe it's going to be useful for some of you understand. It's very like being an editor on Geo is very similar as being a curator on the Everest. Some of you will understand what this is. So this is the closest to that. It's just the next level and next stage that we take from on that point. Yeah, that's the update from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that explanation. And I would also, once again, I already said it in the chat, but I see a bunch of the Geo Explorers from the Graph Advocates here. So I would like to also give a shout out to them for helping out with this. Cool, amazing. Thank you so much, Arturos. Up next, we will have Petko from Graph Hubs with news about the Subgraph radio. Petko, are you here?
Yes, hello everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay, 1 second. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see it. And yeah, I don't have an exact chronological view of when was the last time that we spoke about Subgraph Radio in the community talk, but I think we've spoken about it twice. So the first one was when we introduced the initial GRC and the idea behind Graphcast and Subgraph Radio, and the next one was basically when our first Subgraph Radio launch. So now I'm here to speak a bit about the first actual stable release of Subgraph Radio. We've named this release 1.0, not surprisingly. So let's just get straight into some of the updates in this release, and then we will kind of talk about what this means for different network participants. So in the first stable release, a few highlights are that we've introduced database persistence, which is very important for having the radio be more scalable and for having all of that data persist in a efficient manner, because as the radio runs, it deals with a lot of data, and it's important for that data to persist between radio reruns. Before we were using a JSON file to do that, but as more data starts flowing through the radio, as more users join in and start sharing information in the radio, we believe that a database is a much better solution for that.
Petko, could you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
I'm getting some reports that people are having trouble watching the stream because there's 2 of them open. I'm
Okay.
wondering if Arturos is still sharing his screen on accident. If he is, Arturos, could you close that, please? People are having trouble. Um, I think that's it. Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, for the people that missed out, this was the first slide. Not a lot of info there. So we're now at the second one. So we've covered the database persistence. The second highlight of release 1.0 is we have upgraded the way that we validate configurations. So now it's a lot easier to actually see if one or more of your configuration variables is wrong when you start up the radio. Specifically, this was important for the indexer address. So Subgraph Radio will now make sure that the mnemonic or private key that is provided upon radio startup actually matches to the on-chain indexer, and that can be done by providing a indexer operator mnemonic or private key, or using a GraphCast ID, which is kind of another layer of security that you can add in order to make sure that your indexer is secure. Then the next one is the GraphCast network is scaling. So we have switched to using Wacoo's relay protocol, and you don't really need to understand what that is, but essentially that helps us make the radios and just the message propagation more stable. So now messages are far less likely to get lost or to be received slowly. So all of the messages will be propagated throughout the network very fast, and it's almost 100% guaranteed that if a message has been sent, it will be received by the other radios that are interested in those messages. We've also added more end-to-end tests just to make sure that everything that is in this release, but also things that we have worked on before, are stable and are ready for production. Next one, just on integrations. I know that I mean I'm sure you guys know that StakeSquid's Docker Compose stack is one of the biggest ways that people, especially beginners, start off with indexing on the graph. So Subgraph Radio is now included in the default level of StakeSquid stack, which is great news because people don't even have to think about configuring Subgraph Radio. It will start with feasible defaults, but of course, people can customize those defaults on top. But it's just a great thing to have, and of course, this means that everyone who is using StakeSquid's Docker Compose stack and having the radio run inside it gives a lot more information to be spread around everyone else that is using it, of course. So yeah, just it makes it easier for people to run the radio is what I'm trying to get at. And then the second integration is Subgraph Radio is included in Launchpad, which is our own stack. It's as some of you guys know, it's based on Kubernetes and is amazing. So if you haven't read up on Launchpad, definitely do so. Okay, so now how does Subgraph Radio benefit indexers? But I would say not just indexers. This applies to other network participants as well, as we will touch on when discussing the Subgraph upgrade presync feature. So first and foremost, Subgraph Radio just facilitates exchange of data among indexers and other network participants about subgraphs. That is the radio's main goal, and in order to achieve this goal, the radio has a few different features. Now, the main one is the POI cross-checking feature that helps indexers catch divergences in POIs. And just really quick, POI is a proof of indexing. It's basically a hash, and that way indexers can know whether the data that they're serving is the same as the consensus data. So, like the data that other indexers are serving, or if their proof of indexing hash doesn't match with the consensus hash, that probably means that they have something wrong in their setup. And as soon as they catch that the better. So that's where Subgraph Radio helps. The Using the radio, indexers will get notified when a divergence happens, and then they can take relevant actions. Then the next one is the radio allows for real-time aggregated network intelligence. As we'll see in a bit, the radio has a Grafana dashboard setup that is included in the repository, and basically that helps just getting a load of information just at a glance about what's happening with the subgraphs across the network. And then the last point here is just as with a lot of these gossip network based applications, pretty much the more people use it, the more useful the radio becomes for everyone that is using it, because the more data that is being shared, the better, because then users can be fairly confident about the consensus POI, for instance, in the case of the POI cross-checking feature. Oh, and I missed the Subgraph upgrade precinct, which is probably the most important feature to discuss in this call specifically. So the Subgraph upgrade presyncing feature allows Subgraph developers to send to send messages saying when they plan on releasing a new version of their subgraph, which then allows indexers, if they want to start automatically syncing the new deployment of that subgraph, which is very important, because then if the new deployment is already synced, when it gets published, all of the traffic is going to go straight to the new deployment, so there won't be any kind of downtime, or the subgraph developer won't have to worry about whether just how much time it's going to take the indexer to sync the new deployment, or whatever. They will be able to see that the indexer, or many indexers have already synced the new deployment, so it just makes releasing new versions of subgraphs a lot easier. And let's just see some of the things that we have for the demo. This is kind of what our Grafana dashboard looks like. So it helps indexers see just at a glance a summary of how many subgraphs are matching and how many are divergent, as well as more stats just about the radio itself, and how the state of the traffic related to the subgraphs that they're interested in is doing. Then we have notifications, which the user can configure to get notified when divergences happen. And we have a lot of freedom, like we allow for a lot of freedom in how these notifications are set up. So for instance, people can configure having live notifications, meaning that they will get notified straight away when a divergence has been detected, so like live. But that can get a bit noisy, so we've also added an option for notifications to be set on a certain interval, and this can be daily or every 6 hours, where you would just get a report of how many subgraphs are diverging, how many are matching, and on which blocks they have diverged, if they have. And then we have the GraphQL API, which just lets users really dig deeper into the radio state and send queries. This is especially helpful, for instance, when a divergence has happened and they want to learn more about like what is the state of all of the other participants who are sending messages for that subgraph. So you can get a lot of very specific data using the GraphQL API, which is always great. And then I would really encourage, because I know this was a fairly short presentation, I would really encourage anyone who is interested to learn more about Subgraph Radio and just GraphCast as a whole to check out our docs. But maybe what's even better is you can check this YouTube playlist with workshops that we've recorded in the last few months, and one of them is specifically aimed for Subgraph developers to understand how they can use how they can use the Subgraph upgrade feature of Subgraph Radio to send messages of when they plan on releasing a new version of their Subgraph. And of course, there's also lengthy a very lengthy video that covers basically everything that has to do with Subgraph Radio. So definitely, if you're interested, check that out and get in touch with us on the GraphCast channel on the Graph Discord to just discuss basically anything like feedback on the Subgraph Radio on the GraphCast SDK, and maybe you have an idea of a future radio that we can build on top of GraphCast, and just anything GraphCast related. We'll be more than happy to chat with you all there. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I would like to say that the link to the YouTube playlist has been shared in the chat already. So if anybody is interested in looking at that, you can scroll up a little bit and you will find it right there. So you can watch those videos. Thank you so much, Patko, for joining us today. And everybody else from the GraphOps team that I see in the audience as well. Thank you guys for joining. Our third segment is about the mentorship for the Graph advocates, something that I'm very excited to see happening even more than it used to be. And we will be joined by Juliana, who is leading the new membership team at Graph Advocates now. Sorry, mentorship team, I should say. And she will tell us more about this initiative. So I would like to see if Juliana is here.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yay. Yep.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So, the mentorship is a new initiative to support advocates in their journey. But I would like to answer the question today, who does it involve exactly? So the mentoring involves all new joining advocates who, after their onboarding, are still not sure how to start contributing to their chosen roles as advocates, and they are not sure how to achieve their goals and want to stay active advocates. But it is also designed to reactivate advocates who joined some time ago but haven't contributed yet. So the advocates from previous onboarding waves are involved in it too, and you can say that this initiative is tailored for advocates who haven't contributed yet and submitted any contribution form so far. And I would like to take this opportunity and point out how important it is to submit contribution form for what you have done in your chosen advocate role. Many advocates who we speak to and say, I can do it, it's not a problem, I don't need money for it or any reward. The truth is that your activity can get lost in the amount of contributions from other advocates from around the world. So, in that context, you should think of the submitted contribution form as of the proof of your contribution, which helps you build your credibility and your reputation in the space. And this will make it easier for you to apply for a community grant, for example, or in case of ongoing high quality contributions, this can get you to the DAO, for example. So submit a contribution form whenever you have done something in your role, even if you would think that it is a small thing. Or you don't want any reward for it, just leave a note in the form if that's the case, but always submit a contribution form. Okay, I feel like I said that so many times. I would like to also talk about what are the mentorship goals. So it starts with filling out the feedback form. And with this, we want to learn about your expectations when you decided to apply for the Advocates program. We believe there must have been strong motivation behind, which made you made the advocates go through 2 to even 3 calls with different DAO members before you were accepted to the program. And we wonder what happened after these advocates joined that caused them not starting to contribute. Was it lack of information on our side? What could have been done to prevent it? And we want to understand also your aspirations, hopes, and goals for the Advocates program and show you a way to reach them. And that's the ultimate goal, that you will achieve your long-term goals. But we believe that this can happen through contributions. So the first step, the first goal is to get the inactive advocates submit their first contribution. And I hope this mentorship will be something very useful for you and will bring expected benefits for all of us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Juliana. And I see that Lorena shared the form for the mentorship and that there are also a bunch of nice comments in the chat. So that's really good to see. Thank you, everyone. Our last segment for today will be about the launch of Tenderize V2, and we will have a bunch of the people from Tenderize in the call today. We will have Alec, the CEO, Nico, the founder and CTO, and Salim, the COO. And I think Alec is going to do the introduction, so I would like to pass the mic to Alec.
Yeah, hey everyone. GM, can you hear me?
Yep, amazing. We can hear you.
All right. First off, Happy New Year, everyone. Very excited to be here for our second community talk. We just want to share a couple things with you. First, we'd love to show you a quick demo of Tenderize V2. We can give you some details about the upcoming launch, which is scheduled for January 29th. And we'll even share a little bit of alpha. And then we're also going to just introduce the core team members in case you don't know us. So, for some context before we begin, Tenderize V2 is a new liquid staking protocol for GRT. And when designing V2, we really completely rethought the liquid staking architecture because we feel, though, that liquid staking today has some pretty centralizing attributes associated with it. And instead, we wanted to build a protocol which respects the cypherpunk ethos. And our team is extremely passionate about censorship resistance and decentralization. And I think you'll be pretty excited to see that Tenderize V2 really is designed to defend those core principles. So to deliver this, V2 accepts delegations of GRT and then returns the delegator an indexer-specific liquid staking token. And each of these LSTs are liquid on our new LST-specific AMM, which we call TenderSwap. These LSTs, you can use them as collateral in DeFi. You can build your own custom index comprised of the indexers of your choice, or you can simply use it as a white label solution, a white label LST solution if you're an indexer. And we call this whole new infrastructure Liquid Staking 2.0. So extremely excited to show you a demo here in a minute. But before we get into that, I think we could just do a brief background on some team members. So I'm Alec. I'm the CEO of Tenderize Labs. I've been building in DeFi now for about 4 years. Previously, I was the econ and growth lead at SpareX DAO, and we built an on-chain money market fund. It's live on Arbitrum today. It's trading on Coinbase as well. And then before that, I was running a nonprofit called the Blockchain Education Network, where we helped students get jobs in crypto or just shared various educational resources with university students. And I also worked at Marquette University's blockchain lab after graduating. So that's a brief background on the company and myself. And I'm going to pass it off to Nico to give a quick introduction.
Hey everyone. Thanks, Alex. So yeah, my name is Nico, founder and CTO of the project. Oh, nice, wearing a Tenderize shirt. Love it. I'm wearing my graph shirt, so everything's in balance indeed. So yeah, my name is Nico, founder and CTO of Tenderize. Before doing all this liquid staking stuff, I was a protocol engineer at LifePeer for quite a while. For those that don't know, the Graph and LifePeer have sort of been besties since the beginning. Was one of the first subgraphs on the decentralized network, as well as on the hosted service too, I think. So yeah, really passionate about the graph and everything that the community is working on. And yeah, looking forward to bring liquid staking to GRT indexers and delegators.
So, Liam, you want to hop up and give a quick background?
Hey, hello everyone. This is Salim. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Tenderize, mostly responsible for onboarding launch partners when we go live in a few weeks. Very excited about that. I'll give you more on that in a bit. I'm also responsible for just doing partnership business development together with Alec and keeping the lights on and doing some operation chef stuff. Thank you.
Diogo, are you around?
Yeah, I'm here. Nice to be here, guys. I'm Diogo, leading marketing at Tenderize. I've started, my work experience at Big Pharma with Pfizer and AstraZeneca, and then went to luxury to work with Swatch Group in Richemont, and then finally ended up on my dream industry, which is Web3. Worked with Anchor on the marketing side, leading marketing at Liquid Staking. Then worked with Liquid Staking CDP called Davos, and then CMO at Tagus Ventures, and really looking forward towards being here once again. Thanks for the invitation.
Cool. So that's a quick background on the core team, and then our total team is a group of 8, but the core team members you just met. So I'm going to pass it off to Nico now to give just a brief demo of user interface and kind of the user journey as a delegator staking to your favorite indexer.
Oh, I was muted, sorry. Yeah, let's see if this works. I will try my best to share my screen. I'm going to share the full screen so we can see the MetaMask windows as well. Please don't scold at me for still using MetaMask. Old school like that. I guess we can go live. Also, it's going to be a local version. Well, it runs locally on my machine because it still includes some new features in the UI that we're adding to the app. So if something breaks, I'm sorry. We'll fix it before the launch. But we should be all good. So can someone confirm that they see my screen, even if it's the Discord window, because I've got the full thing open?
It is not loading for me, but it might be on my end.
No, that might be permissions. Now let me check. Okay, let's see if we can just share a window in that case. Okay. We won't see the MetaMask windows, but at least we'll see something. Otherwise, I have to figure out my permissions.
Yep, this works for me. It loaded for me now. If the chat can also confirm.
Okay. In that case, you'll just have to trust me on what happens in MetaMask. But yeah, cool. So yeah, this is the Tenderize UI. I'm on the page for the graph at the moment because we're obviously in the graph community call, but we'll also have LPT and Polygon when we go live. But hey, but at first glance, top is an overview of my balances. But if you go down to the second section, which is stake and unstake, this will look not very similar to the graph, Network Explorer, but it will be like a familiar workflow whereby you'll see every indexer that's on the network. You'll see it listed here. These are the indexers on Arbitrum. I'm sorry for the mainnet indexers. If you're still on there, move over. It's a good thing to do. So yeah, all of the indexers are here. You can, similar like you would delegate your GRT to one of these indexers, you would do the same with Tenderize, but in this case, it would actually be liquid staked or liquid delegated, quote unquote, to your preferred indexer or multiple indexers. So if I want to stake, in this case, I'll pick Protofire, or yeah, well, let's do Graphtronauts for the community vibes. Want to stake to it, I enter the amount. This is probably a very common interface for most people that have used either the Graph staking interface or something like Uniswap. You'll get a pop-up kind of explaining what goes on in your wallet. Right now, MetaMask is showing me, is asking me for a signature to approve my GRT to be spent. This might also be an approval transaction, depends on the token. Once that completes, it will ask me to confirm the transaction to stake my GRT tokens. I'm confirming that. And once that completes, I get the transaction details. Still working on that UI there, but hey. That's kind of the quick and easy flow to delegate stake. And once that's done, that balance will show up here on top. I already had some TGRT for Graphtronauts, so it just added it to it. So yeah, that's staking, and you'll be earning a part of the indexer's rewards, of course. And there's also unstaking. We have two options. Either you wait for the unbonding period and then withdraw your GRT afterwards. There is one slight caveat. So the unbonding period in the graph is roughly 26 days. Worst case scenario in Tenderize, it's going to be double that because our smart contract basically acts as a delegator, and we have to batch up all of the users that unstake together and process that every 26 days from the indexer. So worst case scenario, it takes a little bit longer, but anything over that 26 days, you'll still be earning rewards. And this is always one-to-one. So you don't depend on a liquidity pool or anything to get your money out. You can just unstake and wait and then withdraw your tokens. Not going to go through the whole flow, but it's the same as with staking. And then the one big thing that changes with liquid staking is that you can swap your liquid staked tokens instantly back for GRT. And this will incur a little bit of slippage. Let's say I want to, let's say coaction. I want to sell 100 of my tokens. At the moment, because there's quite a bit of utilization of the liquidity pool on the testnet, I will pay 1.5 GRT in fee for swapping 100, which is 1.52%. Normally these will be lower, but it's because the liquidity utilization on the testnet is quite rampant, no real money at stake, so people are mostly just clicking around and trying to break the UI, which is great. So yeah, if you swap it instantly, same thing as doing it something on Uniswap. Oh yeah, I have to change the slippage threshold to include the 2%, but other than that, it shouldn't throw an error. Interesting. I'll have to fix that on the UI side, but normally it should work. That's what you get with live code demos. So yeah. And then on the dashboard, you can see, your transaction history. These should already be marked in progress as well. Yeah, these modals are something we just added to the UI to give people a better understanding of what's going on in your wallet, and we're still kind of fixing the last little bits here. But I also wanted to already demo it. If you want to test a live version of this, it's live at cooking.tenderize.me. There you can also interact with it. There's faucets to get some test tokens. You can get 100k GRT a day, not real money, of course, and then you can play around with it. But this is pretty much what the workflow will look like from the user's perspective. if you unstake and it's ready to withdraw, you can also withdraw it. I'm on the live group page right now because I didn't have any GRT unstakes that were ready. But these are also wrapped into NFTs, so you can also transfer these unstaking or ready to withdraw receipts to other people if you want to. Yeah, that's the quick demo. Any questions or feedback or anything else?
There's a question from Derek in the chat room, but I'm not sure if anybody is answering in the chat or if you want to do it. It is the TGRT indexer / GRT liquidity something that users should provide, or is it done within the contracts?
Yeah, so good question. So right now the UI indeed doesn't include anything on how to provide liquidity for this. Anyone can provide liquidity. It's a little bit different than something like Uniswap or Curve. This AMM is just one big pool of GRT in this case. And it kind of acts like a clearinghouse or some sort of fractional reserve in which you can then, trade the LST back and forth, and the pool takes on the LST, unstakes, etc. So you can provide liquidity, earn swap fees, and will likely also incentivize this a little bit. But the vision for the protocol is that most of the liquidity will in the future be protocol-owned liquidity. So that we don't depend on people providing liquidity, but the Tenderize treasury has this baseline of liquidity that it pledges that will always be there as to create a sustainable ecosystem. As to your second question, Derek, yes, it provides liquidity for all of these indexers in a sort of shared way. And what you'll see is that the swap fee between different indexers is never going to be the same. Because different indexers might have a different amount of stake through Tenderize, and they might also already be using a different amount of the liquidity that's available, and based on that, the slippage fees that are charged might differ. Why do we do this? In case, for example, one indexer wants to dump all of his GRT or his TGRT because he knows he's getting slashed. I know there's no delegator slashing, but just for an example case, or to grief, if he would dump all of that T token or TGRT supply, he would get a lot of slippage. So these are kind of things to fairly and efficiently share the liquidity, so no one can take advantage of others. The app is as mobile friendly as it can be at this moment. We're still working on it. I can quickly show the mobile version of it if you want. This is kind of sort of what it will look like. I'm still not sold on this carousel to browse through indexers. So that's something we might change in the future, but other than that, it is functional on mobile as well. Yep.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And I know you guys want to talk about some other stuff as well. And I do want to remind you that we only have 5 minutes left. So.
Yeah, definitely. To quickly touch on Paulie's point real quick, borrowing against stake in the future is a feature we'll be working on after launch. It will be very similar to something like you're used to with MakerDAO or Liquidity, whereby you have over-collateralized loans against some stable that we mint than against your staked GRT that you deposit. But more to come on that in the next few weeks after launch.
Cool. Thanks, Nico. Salim, you want to give a quick intro to some of the launch partners and the launch cohort?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're doing great. We actually have a lot of partners joining our launch in the last week. And to name a few, on the Graph network. It's GraphToNut, StepLooker, Notify, InfraDAO, GraphOps, Decision Basis joined today. Yesterday, StepLooker joined. Last week, GraphToNut. So Stake Squid is on board. Thomas Block, Coaction Network, POPS team, also the institutionals, Course One. So yeah, we are doing great, and our TVL targets on getting an awesome launch is well above 10 million TVL. Coming from our launch partners, so we are very happy about that. Want to give a quick word to Data Nexus, Derek, to share his thoughts on the experience using testnet and what he's most excited about for Tenderize.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. I mean, in terms of the UI and stuff like that, that's something that everyone's going to be really familiar with because it works. It works the way that you would expect a Web3 application to work. So it should be very familiar to all the delegators on the call, just in terms of how the Explorer works. So we've had great experiences, playing around with the UI. A couple of things that I'm specifically excited about, with Tenderize is when you have your tokens in TGRT or in the LST, you have the ability to essentially swap from one indexer over to another indexer, which is something that's kind of missing in the current ecosystem. Typically people will come and they'll delegate, and then it's stuck with that indexer unless they want to await the 28 epoch thaw period, which sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I don't really see my indexer around. He's not, they're not being responsive, or for whatever reason, right? You might want to switch to a different person, and you have to go through the thought process of like, well, do I really want to, eat it for 28 epochs and have no rewards and all that type of stuff? Well, with this new system, you'll have to undelegate your GRT initially so that you can deposit it into Tenderize. But if at any point your indexer becomes less relevant in the network, or they're not around, or whatever reason you want to swap out of that indexer, you can trade your TGRT tokens for that indexer to another indexer that you want to support, that you want to delegate to. And then Tenderize will kind of take care of all of the unstaking, redelegating, blah, blah, blah. They handle all that on your end. You just have the immediate swap of, switching your indexer. So it's a really useful tool for delegators. And so that's one of the things that I'm most excited about. Also, very excited for the potential of collateralizing positions and stuff like that, because there's definitely times where someone may have major purchases in their life, and like, well, I don't really want to sell my GRT and blah blah blah, and that could be a good solution for that in the future.
Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts, Derek. Super excited to have you on board. All right, I know that we're out of time here. I just want to share a little bit of alpha for people in the room. Crap, it's not going to let me share my screen, but let me share the link with you. The link is tenderize.me.
Right now, sorry, I was still sharing.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, it's still not allowing me. I'll share the link in the description here, though. But we're 14 days away from launch, so we have a couple different opportunities for you guys to get some extra incentives. First off, if you've ever interacted with Tenderize V1, be sure to go claim your airdrop. So we're running this TVL onboarding campaign for the first 90 days of our protocol. So that means that you can deposit GRT, you can begin collecting exclusive hats. These hats will be convertible to our governance token this summer. So check out tenderize.me/cookout, connect your wallet, see if you're eligible for the V1 airdrop. And if you are, wonderful. If not, you can do a couple things like complete a quest to earn some bonus hats. You can mint a referral code to invite your friends to the launch campaign, which we're calling the Cookout. And either way, I just want to put the launch date of January 29th on your radar. Delegate your GRT to the indexer of your choice through Tenderize, and then you can begin earning native rewards from the indexer, plus exclusive hats, which will be convertible to our governance token. And that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Alec, Nico, Salim, and Derek for that amazing introduction. And I really hope that people check out all the codes that you shared and get engaged with the protocol. It should be really good. And once again, thank you guys for being here and being the recurring guest. And if you have any cool updates, let us know so we can host you again. All right. Lorena already mentioned in the chat, but she will be sharing the POAP for today with everybody by the end. We will be sharing a link with you. Before we conclude today's community talk, I would like to remind you that there is an upcoming Indexer office hours today at 6 UTC, so in about 1 hour. Also, don't forget to check the monthly core dev updates on the Graph forum. And thank you for joining us today for the community talk. We will now open up the floor for some Q&A, and I see that that's already going on in the chat room, so we'll be able to answer the questions there. If you have no further questions, I would like to wish you a great day, and I hope to see you all again for next month's community talk. Bye-bye, guys.